Hello, moon babies. It's Molly. Thank you so much for being here with me and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be switching my altar over, transitioning from winter into spring. And it doesn't feel terribly springy here right now, but I am afraid it's not going to feel springy until June. So I have the time today and I wanted to spend it with you, so we're gonna go for it. And while I do the turnover, I thought it would be fun for us to talk a little bit about a couple of ways for you to really get the most out of your altar spaces. So let's get to it. So here we are in the temple room, and as you can see, we're still set up from the winter solstice with evergreens and sparkles all over. I use this space to work, and I use it every day. So we've got books and paint and lots of wax and incense ash. So it's going to feel really good to clean up and brighten this space up for spring. So moon babies write to me all the time asking about the right way to set up an altar. And I personally believe that there is no right way to set up an altar because it's a personal expression. Our altars are an outward illustration of the inner life. So we should feel free to follow our instincts and inspiration. And while I don't think that there's a particularly right way, a prescribed way, I do think that there are questions that we can ask ourselves to help us create a space that's really going to work for us and help us get the most out of it. One question might be, what do we actually plan to do at our altar? If we're planning a meditation space versus a space to do elaborate ritual regularly, our needs are going to look very different. So maybe it's a place you plan to journal or pull cards for yourself. And if you feel overwhelmed by a bunch of stuff and you don't need it, we don't have to use it. So getting really clear about what we actually want to do in our devotional space will help us make decisions about what to include. We might also ask ourselves if our sacred space needs to be permanent. You absolutely do not need a room devoted entirely to your setup. This is something that brings me a lot of joy, and I love tending to it, and I have the luxury of having the space. But perhaps a mobile or a temporary altar would not only suit your needs, but work better for us in the long run. I used to work out of a little suitcase, and I did that for years. It was a vintage travel makeup case, I think, and it worked beautifully. Piggybacking off of our last question, we can follow up with how easy is this space for us to use? We're more likely to be active in our sacred spaces and at our altars if it's convenient. Can we find what we need? Is there a way that we can store items that make it more likely for us to use them with regularity? Do we have a place or a plan to dispose of anything that we might need to clean up, like a receptacle for matches or incense butts, that sort of thing? If we make it really easy for ourselves, we'll be surprised by how much more time we're able to spend in that space. Lastly, have big fun with it. Use anything that you're drawn to. Your space does not have to look like anyone else's. It can be silly or sad or edgy or simply beautiful, if that's what your soul wants. Our sacred spaces are expressions of who we are and where we are right now. So feel free to make changes, play with it, and have fun. I hope that was fun for you. I had a lot of fun making this for you. I hope that you have a blessed equinox wherever you are in the world. And I want to thank you so, so much for being here, for watching, for listening. And until we speak again, moon babies, witch on, witch boldly, and be well.